Down there, life continues. The traffic is awful, stocks go on trading, and Star Trek is still showing.
Good morning, grade 9 learners. Welcome to today's natural science lesson, proudly brought to you by the Housing Department of Education. My name is Milton Gomo. Just look at the structure of our lesson today. The knowledge area of our lesson is life and living. The topic of our lesson is human reproduction. Human reproduction. And the subtopic of our lesson is puberty. So we're going to be looking at puberty today. Right, let's go through the objectives of our lesson. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to describe the main purpose of reproduction, that is for the gametes, which includes both male and female sex cells, right? To combine to ensure the continuation of the species. You're also supposed to be able to explain the reason for the development of secondary sexual characteristics, as well as being able to describe the changes that occur to male and female bodies during puberty. So these are the objectives of the day. Refer to the CAPS document, page 59, as the source for our lesson. Let's start by looking at the pre-knowledge, what you need to recall that's going to help us. Remember, a lot of information is going to help us understand today's lesson. Let's recall the topic that we covered in grade 5 under life cycle. Remember that life is a cycle that as a baby, right, you grow up, right, become a teenager, you pass all the stages of life, become a mother, become a father, you age, finally, as you can see from the image there, the life is a cycle, begins and it ends, right? So this topic is going to help us understand how well can we fit into this topic, which is puberty, right? We also have to recall what we covered in grade 7 under human reproduction. Remember again, today's topic is human reproduction, and the subtopic is puberty. So all this information that we covered in grade 7 under human reproduction is going to help you remember a lot, which is going to assist you in understanding today's lesson in a much better way. Right, let's look at what exactly you need to recall under human reproduction. Recall the human reproductive systems. That is for both female reproductive system and the male reproductive system, right? As well as the reproductive organs for both male and females. You can take a look at the image there. We've got the female organs shown and male organs shown. And for female organs, you can see the fallopian tubes, right? Which hold the ovaries. There are ovaries there, right? As you can see, those are ovaries, right? Then there's the uterus. Then we've got the cervix, we've got the endometrium, and we've got the vagina. So those are the female organs under the female reproductive system. What you need to recall. Right, let's take a look at the male organs. We've got the bladder, they've got the seminal vesicle, they've got the protest there, right? Then the testicle, as well as the urethra, penis, and the epididymis. So all those are the male reproductive organs. So with this pre-knowledge, you are able to write down, okay, in a correct way, the baseline assessment that we have in the form of 2 questions. We're going to use that pre-knowledge to answer this baseline activity. Let's look at those questions. Number 1 says, name any 2 female reproductive organs. Name any 2 female reproductive organs. Remember, from all those that we just looked at, just pick a 2. Right, then number 2, name any 2 male reproductive organs. Name any 2 male reproductive what? Organs. Right, I'm going to give you 3 minutes for this baseline assessment. Thereafter, we get corrections as we move on. Right, welcome back. I'm sure all of you managed to write down correct answers for this baseline activity. Right, let's look at the questions and then the answers to each of them. Number one, name and two female reproductive organs. Let's look at those organs. We've got uterus, we've got the ovary, cervix, vagina, fallopian tubes, right? I just did combine a list there, right? But of course, should have just picked any two from the list, right? So N2 is correct for your answer, right? Number two, name and two male reproductive organs. For males, what we have there is called the penis, urethra, testicle, prostate, and bladder. Of course, just pick any two from the list, right? So for those not managed to get everything correctly, so let's write down the corrections. And for those who did well, that is answering all those two questions correctly, keep it up. Right, let's move on as we look at the terminology of our lesson. Right. First one, we're going to look at puberty. What is puberty? What's meant by puberty? It is the stage in human life cycle when sexual organs mature for reproduction. Remember that puberty is the main part of our lesson today. It's our topic of our lesson. So it's very important to first of all understand and know about puberty, right? It is the stage in the human life cycle when sexual organs mature for reproduction. Okay, next one, I'm going to look at the pituitary gland. This one is a small pea-shaped gland just under the brain that releases hormones into the bloodstream. We're going to look at this as we move on through the lesson so that we know exactly what this gland is all about and where it is located and its importance, right? Next one is testosterone. This one is a male hormone which is made in the testes. Okay. The next one is estrogen. So the female hormone is made in the ovaries. Okay. Right. Now let's look at the purpose and puberty. Right. The main purpose of reproduction is for the gametes to combine for the continuation of the species. That's the main purpose of reproduction, so that there is a continuation of the species, right? Animals have to reproduce so that they have more of their species. Just like us human beings, we have to reproduce so that our life continues. There's continuation of species, right? Gametes are the male and female sex cells. So talk of gametes, but talk about the sex cells for both males and females. Okay, right. What I'm talking about in this case, we'll talk about the gametes, we'll talk about the female sex cells, and then we'll talk about the male sex cell, right? So what you have in the diagram there, this is the male sex cells. This is a sperm cell. This is a sperm cell, right? Then what we have there, this one is an egg cell. An egg cell, right? The sperm cell is the what? The male sex cell, right? Then the egg cell is the female what? Sex cell. So these two are cells, right? We term them gametes, and they are the ones which take part in the case of reproduction, right? They have to fuse, okay? And when they fuse, fertilization takes place, and then a zygote is formed, right? Finally leading to the birth of a new offspring. In that case, there is continuation of life, okay? That's the purpose of reproduction, okay? Let's look at puberty. Puberty is a stage in the human life cycle when sexual organs mature for reproduction. That's puberty, right? Every human being has to reach this stage, right? Has to go through this stage so that his or her body prepared for reproduction. So before reproduction takes place, the body has to get ready, right? So that there are some characteristics that develop. So the time for reproduction, when it comes, the body is well prepared. Okay? So this stage is called puberty stage. Okay? That's puberty stage. What happens? Okay? Sex organs, we're talking about what now? The ovaries, we're talking about the testes. What do? They mature. Okay? And become ready for sexual reproduction. So before this sexual reproduction takes place, the body has to be prepared. The body has to get ready by ensuring that the sex organs mature, right? The ovaries are the what? The female, right? Reproductive organs, while the testes are the male reproductive what? Organs. Okay? What happens in girls? Okay? For girls, puberty starts between the ages of 8 and 13. That's usually the average age, right? When the girls start, right, to undergo the puberty stage from 8 and 13. Of course, there are some who might even start a bit earlier, right? Some maybe 7 years, and then some who might even start a bit late, maybe 14. But from 8 and 13, that's the normal average stage for puberty for girls, right? What about boys? Puberty starts between the ages of 9 and 14, right? So we can now realize that usually girls, right, reach this stage much earlier than boys, okay? The boys usually they start going through this stage from ages of 9 up to 14, right? That's where the body is preparing itself for sexual reproduction, okay? The pituitary gland, okay? The puberty process is initiated by what is called the pituitary gland, right? This gland releases hormones into the blood stream, okay? So this hormone is very, very important. It's the one which makes puberty process possible, right? So it is actually the one responsible for this stage, right? Because it is the one which releases hormones which are then secreted into the bloodstream. Then, of course, sexual characteristics will start to develop through these hormones. Okay? The pituitary gland is found in the brain. In the brain. Let's look at the brain. There is the brain, right? Now, let's locate this very important gland. There it is, the pituitary gland. Located just under there, right? But in the brain, that's where we find the pituitary gland. It is the one responsible for secretion of hormones that make this puberty stage a success for both males and females. Okay. Let's also find more about this gland, what it does, and how it does or carries out its function. Right? The pituitary gland releases hormones into the bloodstream. Okay? By so doing, it triggers the testes and ovaries to release sex hormones. Right? And these sex hormones are testosterone and estrogen, respectively, mean to say that the males, okay, the males release the what? For the males, we have got what? They produce what? Testosterone, okay, while the females produce what? Estrogen. Okay, let's check it out there. Testosterone is released from testes in males, and estrogen is released from ovaries in females. Let's go to that diagram that we have there. Let's look at the ovaries. They are the ovaries, either side. Okay, so we've got ovaries shown from the female reproductive system. This one is the female reproductive system. Okay, that's where we've got ovaries. Okay, only females have got ovaries. Okay, because only females release those egg cells. Okay, so what do these ovaries do? They are the ones which produce and release this special hormone which is called estrogen. It is the one which ensures that females, right, go through this stage of puberty in a proper way, and all the other sexual characteristics that develop in the female body, right, are caused by this hormone which is called estrogen. Right? Let's go to the male reproductive system. What we have there, we just say that the males, right, they've got testes, and these testes, what do? They release, right? They don't just release, they produce, then release this hormone called testosterone, right? They are the testes. Those are the testes that you see there. Then now the testes are the ones which produce and release, right, the hormone testosterone, which is the one responsible for all the sexual characteristics that develop in the male bodies. Okay, let's look at the first activity, activity number 1. Question says, describe how puberty is initiated and controlled by hormones. Describe how puberty is initiated and controlled by hormones, right? You're going to have a lot of answering to do in this case. Therefore, I'm going to give you 5 minutes, therefore, and after that, you are going to look at the corrections. So 5 minutes for this activity. Remember to write neatly and write correctly. Let's get busy. Right, so welcome back. Let's take a look at the activity and find out what he wrote. Okay, number one says describe how puberty is initiated and controlled by hormones. Okay, right, there we are in point four. Hormones are released from the pituitary gland into the bloodstream. That's the first stage which happens in puberty, right? First thing is the secretion of hormones, right? From the pituitary gland, then straight to the bloodstream. Okay? What happens next? These hormones then activate sex organs. Sex organs, namely testes and ovaries, and then release the sex hormones. Okay? So that's what happens, right? So now these hormones, we're talking about the hormones secreted by both males and females, right, during the puberty stage. Okay? Right? They activate the what? Sex organs, which are the testes. Remember, testes are the what? The male reproductive what? Organs. Testes are the male reproductive organs. And then, of course, the ovaries are the female reproductive what? Organs. So now, once these hormones are secreted from pituitary gland, okay, and taken into the bloodstream, they activate the sex organs, right? Even of day, what happens? More of these sex hormones are released. Okay, what happens next? Testes then make testosterone, which is the male sexual hormone. Okay, then ovaries make estrogen, which is the female sexual hormone. Okay, so remember that testosterone is produced and released by males, while estrogen is produced and released by females. Where is estrogen produced and released? From the ovaries. Where is testosterone produced and released? From the testes. Okay, right. What happens thereafter? These hormones are the ones responsible for secondary sexual characteristics in both males and females. Right, so this is a complete stage of puberty, right? So in this way, your question is fully answered. So for those not right end of this, let's write them down. Make sure that next time as you answer this question, you answer in point form and put all the stages as they follow, right? One after the other. Right, for those who did well, of course, keep it up the good work. Let's move on. Now look at the secondary sexual characteristics. Okay, we're going to start by looking at the both sides. That is the males and females, right? What we have there, both the testosterone and estrogen bring about the changes that happen in your body, commonly known as the secondary sexual characteristics. Okay, so both females and males undergo through this stage, right? In girls, what happens? Wider hips, right? So girls start to develop hips, they become wider and rounder, right? And then their bodies start to accumulate more fat, right? Then they go through menstruation, which we usually call it periods, right? So girls start going through that stage, okay? Then of course, they start to grow pubic hair, and also they start to grow underarm hair, okay? So these are just a few, right, changes that take place, right, in girls during this stage of puberty. Right, they are, as you can see, right, we've got the pubic or hair showing up, and remember that we can also have this here growing underarms. Okay, and of course, also facial pimples start to develop as well as the stage is gone through. Okay, what you need to know about most changes which females undergo during puberty. Let's look at them in detail, right? Changes that females undergo during puberty. Changes that females undergo during puberty. Right, what do you have? Okay, first one, females start to increase in height. Okay, so in this case, right, once the girl reaches this puberty stage, what happens? They start to increase in height. Okay, which means they grow taller. Okay, start growing taller. What happens next? Hips becomes wider and rounder. Right? When that happens, you can now know or tell that the girl has reached puberty stage. Right? All females go through this stage of having their hips becoming wider and their hips becoming rounder. Right? This start to take place once they reach the puberty stage. Right? So that's what happens. What else? Menstruation starts for girls, right? We usually call these periods, right? So girls start to menstruate. Okay, so this all happens at puberty stage. That's where it begins. What else happens to the girls? Breasts enlarge, start to develop breasts, right? Their breasts grow and enlarge. Can now tell that the girl has reached the puberty stage. Okay, then of course the uterus enlarges as well. Remember, uterus is now preparing itself to receive the fertilized zygote so that the baby can easily grow. So when that happens, the uterus should have been what? Fully prepared, and it's ready to carry that baby for the what? For the next 9 months. So it has to be enlarged so that it is big enough to accommodate the fertilized, right, the formed zygote, right? What else do we have there? Hair grows under armpits and also around genitals, right? We always, normally refer to this as private parts. So hair grows under armpits and around the genitals. So this is also one of the major signs that the girl is reached the puberty stage. Right, let's just take a look at the diagram that we have there while looking at all these changes that we've just highlighted. Okay, we spoke about pubic hair, right? This start to take place during the ages of 18 to 14 years, right? That's when the girl start to develop what? Pubic hair, okay? And of course, the girl also goes through what's called menstruation. So the girls usually pick out their first periods at the ages between 10 to 16 years, right? That's their most active years for menstruation, right? They also start what? To grow hair underarms, right? This happens during the ages of 10 to 16 years. 10 to 16 years. So, like I said before, that the ages, sometimes the bodies, they develop, right, faster than other bodies. So with girls also, does not happen at the same age or at the same time, right? There are some girls who develop quicker than others, some even develop later. You can find that two girls who are start to menstruate at the age of 10 years, right? While the other will menstruate after 4 years later, maybe at 16 or at 14, right? So it depends with the bodies, but usually that's the average, right, age. Okay. Then we've got the growth, the body growth. We look at the what, the widening of hips as well as the growth of the body. The body start to shape up. We can now see that the girl is now developing into motherhood, which means the body is now preparing itself to be ready for any thing that can happen. That is fertilization, okay, or pregnancy. Okay, so the body has to be fully prepared for such situations, right? Body growth or developing of hips begins normally at the ages from 9 to 14, right? So that's what we need to know about the changes that females undergo during puberty. Right, with that being said, we're going to answer activity number 2, right? We've got 2 questions. Number 1 says, state the hormone responsible for secondary sexual characteristics in females. You're on stating that hormone, okay? Number 2, state any 2 changes that females undergo during puberty. Okay, just pick any 2 these changes, right? We're going to have 4 minutes for this activity. Thereafter, we get corrections. So let's get started. Right, welcome back as we look at activity number 2. Now remember to also send your work through our WhatsApp line 079-578-2908. So send all your work, all your comments and questions through our WhatsApp line 079-578-2908. Okay, right, let's look at the questions. Number 1. State the hormone responsible for secondary sexual characteristics in females. This hormone is called, right? It's called what? Estrogen. That's the hormone responsible for secondary sexual characteristics in females. Okay, number 2. State and 2 changes that females undergo during puberty. And 2 changes that females undergo during puberty. Okay, so from the lot, that is increase in height, widening of hips, okay, menstruation, development of breasts as they start to enlarge, enlargement of the uterus, growth of the hair, underarm, and around genitals. So from all those, just pick out any 2. Okay, so those are the changes that females undergo during puberty. So let's write corrections, okay, of which I'm sure this time around all of us managed to this activity in a correct way. Let's move on as we look now at the sexual characteristics that boys go through during the puberty stage. Okay, what happens? Boys, they start to grow taller. Okay, right. From the diagram there, we're having the demonstration of how this happens, and this, of course, starts to happen between the ages of 10 and 13, right? Where the boys start to grow taller, right? There is the boy going to the next stage, is now taller, right? It's even taller than before, right? And tallest there. So the boys start to grow taller, right? They start to grow what's called facial hair, okay? Also, the hair start to grow underarms, okay? And then pubic hair also grows. And their voices start to deepen. Their voices start to deepen, okay? So these are just a few, or just a brief collection of what happens when the boys go through the puberty stage. Okay, so that's an image showing the underarm hair. Okay, right. Let's look at these secondary sexual characteristics in detail as the boys go through the puberty stage. Okay, changes that males undergo during puberty. Changes that males undergo during puberty. Okay, right. What we have? Increase in height. You can see that this one, right, is the same for both males and females, right? Increase in height. Okay. Then now the boys start to become muscular, right? Their bodies become muscular. Okay. Their shoulders broaden. For the boys, the shoulders will start to broaden out. Okay, showing now that the boy is ready. Okay, or getting ready, right, to being a man, right? Anytime this boy can father a child. Okay, so these are called secondary sexual characteristics. Okay, right. What else happens? The voice cracks. Okay, the boys now start to hear those breaking, deepened, right voices. Okay, then of course their genitals enlarge. In this case, we're talking about the testes, we're talking about the penis. They start to enlarge. Okay, they start to enlarge. So this is what happens as the boys go through puberty stage. Okay, what else? Hair grows on face. underarm, genitals, chest, and stomach, almost every part of the body for the boys will start now developing or growing hair. Okay, so let's just take a look from the diagram that we have there, following up all those changes that take place right in males during the puberty stage. Okay, what we have, we've got facial hair. Okay, and also this also happens especially when it comes to the form of beard. They start to grow beard. Okay, they are boys breaks. Okay, this usually takes place around the ages of 11 to 15 for boys, right? Then of course they now start to go through erection. This starts at the ages of 12 years, right? Right? Anytime at a 12-year boy, start now to go through erection. Okay, go through erection, showing that there is some sperm production taking place within his testes. Okay, right, and then the boys become muscular. Okay, and that growth will be now physically clear, right? Physically clear, and this usually takes place during the ages of 12 to 20 years. Okay, what happens as well? The boys start to grow what's called genital hairs. Okay, hair is going to grow around the penis. Okay, down there to the testes. Right, those are the genital hair. Okay, and also we've got pubic hair. Right, that is this hair can grow underarms, on the chest, on the face. Okay, so those are the changes that males undergo during puberty. Right, now let's look at activity number 2. Right, it says, number 1, state the hormone responsible for secondary sexual characteristics in males. State the hormone responsible for secondary sexual characteristics in males. Number 2, state entry changes that males undergo during puberty. So we're going to have 4 minutes for this activity. Then from there we'll get the corrections. Let's get busy. Right, welcome back. Let's look at the activity number 2 and the portions that we have. Number 1, state the hormone responsible for secondary sexual characteristics in males. This hormone is none other than the hormone testosterone. That's the hormone responsible for secondary sexual characteristics in males. Testosterone. Okay, number 2. State and 3 changes that males undergo during puberty. From the lot that we have there, increase in height, become more muscular, shoulders broaden up, enlargement of breasts, uterus enlarges, yes, starts to grow, okay? That is underarms and around genitals. So all those are the changes that males undergo during puberty. So just pick out M3 as your answer. Okay? Remember to keep on sending your solutions, comments, questions through our WhatsApp number 079-578-2908. Okay, that's our activity. Let's look at some of our lesson, right? Let's recall that. The main purpose of reproduction is for the gametes to combine for the continuation of the species. Okay, that's the main purpose of reproduction, for the continuation of the species. Okay, these gametes are the male and female sex cells. The male and female sex cells. Okay, right. If I compare the two types of reproduction, remember to have got reproduction which does not require sex. Okay, it's called asexual, right? Where there's only one parent offspring, right? Which are identical to parents. But we're not talking about in our topic is reproduction, which is called sexual reproduction, right? Where there are two parents. Okay? Where there are two parents. These parents have got reproductive what? Organs that have sex cells or gametes, also known as the sperm cells and the egg cells. Right, that is for both, right, males and females. Okay? Puberty is the stage in the human life cycle when sexual organs mature for reproduction. All the humans go through this stage so that their bodies get ready for reproduction. So this is a very, very important stage because the bodies should be ready for reproduction. Okay? So this stage is called puberty, right? It's called puberty. Girls. Puberty starts between the ages of 8 and 13. That is girls, right? That's when puberty starts, right? With boys, puberty starts between the ages of 9 and 14. Between the ages of 9 and 14. Right, as we get the last part of our summary, the pituitary gland, which is found in the brain, has the job or the role or the function of releasing the hormones into the blood, right? So the pituitary gland releases hormones into the bloodstream. Okay? This hormone in males releases the hormone called testosterone. Testosterone. Right? This one's released from the testes in males. Right? Then we have got the hormone estrogen, which is released from ovaries, right, in females. So females release the hormone estrogen, which is produced and released, right, by the ovaries. While males release the hormone testosterone, which is produced and released in their testes. Okay, so that's the summary of our lesson. Let's look at the homework. You're going to do this homework, go out, make a research, right? So that when you meet for the next lesson, you submit your homework. Make sure that you write down correct answers to each of these two questions of our homework. Let's look at them in detail. Number one, state the hormone responsible for sexual characteristics in men. State the hormone responsible for sexual characteristics in men. Number two, state the hormone responsible for sexual characteristics in females. So you go do this homework. When we meet for next lesson, submit your work. Okay. And also remember that you can communicate with us through our WhatsApp line. Okay, where you can be sending comments, questions, right? And all the work. You can as well submit your homework through our WhatsApp line, which is 079 578 2908. Okay, 079 578 2908. Okay, right. Let's take a look at what we'll be talking about in our next lesson. Right, a brief preview of the next lesson. We're going to be looking at the hormones responsible for your puberty. Okay, so you can see now the topic of puberty is continuing, but in this case, looking at the hormones. Right, if you just look at the stage of puberty, we now looking at the hormones responsible for puberty. That is, we're looking at both the males and females. Right, take it to note that for males, the puberty stage begins at ages between 10 and 13. That's where all males usually start to go through this stage. Okay, and then for the girls, for females, the puberty stage begins right between the ages of 9 and 12. That's when they start to experience puberty. Okay, now within the ages and age groups and age differences, you can actually tell that the females actually mature quicker than the males because they reach the stage of puberty right quicker than the boys. Okay, so that's what we're looking at, the hormones responsible for puberty. Right, the hormones responsible for puberty. Okay, with that being said, we have come to the end of our lesson. Let us meet next time. Don't forget to do your homework, make a research for next lesson, know the topic that we're going to be looking at, you have enough information so that when we meet for next lesson, we're all having the same information to share and just discuss. Let's meet next time. Thank you.